In this video, I'm going to show you an upward hip circle that is on one hip only and it goes out to the side. So let me show you what I mean. This is a vertical hip circle, and most often when we do these in my dancing, my style, I do them a lot along the side of me. Like if I had wheels, they'd be where the wheels are. There's another variation of that, which is to step out to the side, and I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. So, one way is the way I most often see Egyptian dancers do. There is very, very little weight on this leg, and what I am doing is, in some ways, half of a figure of eight, except that I'm really not committing the weight to it. So, scooping up and in, scooping something up, just with this one hip, as though I'm trying to scoop up and then pour it on my waist. This is a lot of oblique work, so check that your back is relaxed and not trying to help out. So from the side, you can see there's no twist in this move, it's straight out the side. Pay attention for a moment to my foot, and notice how on this move, my foot isn't coming up and down, and it's also not powering the move. So I'm not pressing against the floor, and I'm also just not letting my leg be floppy. I've got an invisible stiletto heel on, and even though my knee bends a little bit and my hip moves, I am not letting my foot sink down. So this is an accent move. You might do it just one time and then go into something else, or maybe on something like a slow melodic section, you might hold it a few more times, and I think it can be interesting to do several times. In terms of where you show this move from, I think that it generally looks really nice from the front or on a little bit of an angle featuring the moving hip, so obviously not the back hip, but the front one. And I think if you're very close to an audience, that you can do this straight at the audience, and you get that sense of, ooh, there's a hip. Especially if you've been doing something that's here, more vertical, having that moment of the hip coming close looks really nice. I don't personally think it's as effective if you're far from people who are watching your move. As you can see now, it's a bit invisible. It's clearer to see what I'm doing from the front. So here's another variation of the move that I think is probably flamenco inspired, and I think comes through fusion belly dancing. I learned it from a dancer named Severina, who is a tribal dancer in the US. And that variation involves a weight shift and a wider stance. That's what's different. So it's overall a bigger move. Instead of keeping this really, really light, you step out on the move. So my foot and my hip, I think the foot moves out a fraction earlier than the hip to prepare to take the weight of the hip. I again use my oblique muscles to pull in, and as I pull in, I drag my foot in. So if it's possible on your flooring and possible for the comfort of your feet, drag your foot in. Whenever you're doing a move where you drag your foot somewhere, think about the angle you're dragging it at. So for example, if you drag your feet forward, don't let them drag on an angle, go straight over your toes. If your foot is out to the side and you drag it in, either keep the contact with the floor light and keep your ankle quite straight, or relax your ankle and let it drag in, but don't let it roll onto the ball of the foot and come in like this. Don't let it roll onto the top of the foot. Think about coming in on the big toe. Maybe with that really soft, loose ankle. That's usually what I do. It reminds me of like a pin-up girl in like the 40s or 50s. Or you can do the same thing with a straight ankle. Okay, so that said, let's try the same move on the other side. You've got the step out. Sorry, commit some weight to it. Step out and pull in. Step out and pull in. So I never really worry about this side of my body. Like, it's just there. I want to try to keep this foot kind of firmly on the floor, ideally pointing forward. But I'm really thinking only about this half of my body. So as you do this move, your leg is just unlocked. It's not slammed straight, or that will inhibit the movement. Just unlocked, and it's just going to follow the lead of this active foot. When the move is big like this, I tend to do it fewer times. I don't love how this looks done multiple times. I love it as a one-off move, so I might be like shimmy, 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 and then go into something else. But feel free to add your own embellishment, your own aesthetic to this move and really make it your own. So those are two variations on a hip circle on one hip, vertical, and out to the side, both with the weight shift and without a weight shift.